The Ennead are the Egyptian gods that hail from a pocket dimension called the Celestial Heliopolis. They could alter their appearance and manipulate matter. They have cosmic and elemental energies that they could wield at will. They can also choose a model and use them as avatars of their divine power and will. So these gods, although they exist at 9 at a time, there have been multiple changes in the lineup, which means that like the Asgardian gods, they too can be killed or will perish in time. So here in this video we will take a look at 15 of these Egyptian gods and assess in the end of the video who the present 9 of the Ennead are in Moon Knight. The first one is Ra, also known as Atum or Amon-Ra. He is the god of the sun and the king of the gods, and one of the most powerful of the pantheon. He represents the burning masculine virility of the sun. He stands for the sovereignty of masculinity, logic and raw power. He is a creator god and later was turned into the Demogorge, the god-eater who resides in the sun and only comes out to eat aforementioned gods. He is the main progenitor of the race of gods collectively known as the Enneads, the father to them all. Next we have Shu and Tufnut. When Ra returned to the sun and became the Demogorge, Shu, his son, took up his throne as the god of the air, and his twin sister Tefnut became the goddess of the rain. They sired the fourth generation of gods, which included the likes of Geb and Nut, respectively the god of the earth and the goddess of the heavens, who succeeded them when the time came for them to retire due to old age, and led the younger generation of gods to rise and continue the cycle. Next we have Geb and Nut. Geb was the Egyptian god of the earth and one of the confirmed mythological member of the Ennead of Heliopolis. He could also be considered as the father of snakes. It was believed that in ancient Egypt that Geb's laughter created earthquakes and that he allowed crops to grow. His sister and consort, Nut, is the goddess of the sky, stars, cosmos, mothers, astronomy and the universe. She was seen as a star-covered nude woman arching over the earth, or sometimes as a cow. She was depicted wearing the waterpot sign that identifies her. In Marvel, Geb and Nut ruled as pharaohs of Egypt, immortal pharaohs, until they were imprisoned with the others in a pyramid by the god Seth. Then we have Osiris. He was the eldest child of Geb, god of the earth, and Nut, the goddess of the heavens, the brother of Seth, Isis, and Nephthes. He was the Egyptian benevolent god of the dead. As Geb stepped down from rulership, Osiris was chosen to succeed him, to the dismay of Seth, who wished to rule Heliopolis. This set up the long-standing feud between Seth and the other gods. Osiris is a formidable combatant, particularly in using his energy-manipulating capabilities in combat situations. Then we have Isis. As the goddess of fertility and domestication, Isis taught ancient Egyptian mortals the arts of medicine and domestication. She was also a powerful sorceress. After her husband Osiris was murdered and dismembered by his jealous brother, younger brother Seth, Isis used her sorcery prowess to reassemble her husband and bring him back. Isis possessed a vast control over elemental forces, including the ability to restore life to the dead. Then we have Nephthes. She was yet another deity of the dead, not to be confused with death, but of the dead souls. She was also the goddess of the night. She was married to Seth but was impregnated by Osiris at some point of time, which further led to the enmity between Seth and Osiris later on. From that union, a famous and feared god would come to be, and that is Anubis. Then we have Seth. Seth is among the most powerful of all the Egyptian gods. He was the brother of Isis, Osiris and Nephthes. He was also seen as a god of death, more precisely as the serpent god of death. Due to his jealousy of Osiris, at a certain point of time, he managed to kill Osiris and dismember his body into 14 different parts and scattered it into the winds. He was also a fierce rival and enemy of Horus, the son of Osiris. Now we come to Hathor. Seen as the lioness goddess, Hathor was the daughter of the god of the sun, Amon-Ra or just Ra. She is a beast metaphorically and literally speaking. At one point of time when the people of ancient Egypt rebelled against Ra, he sent Hathor to punish humanity, but her bloodlust transformed her into Sekhmet. A power of destruction, Sekhmet released such fury against mortal foes that Ra feared that she would destroy the human race entirely. Legends state that Sekhmet even shredded half of Egypt because her bloodlust was uncontrollable once unleashed. Next we come to Anubis. Anubis is the jackal-headed god of death and rebirth, along with being the god of funerals, mummification and the afterlife. As the god of death, his main role was to usher souls into the afterlife. He attended the weighing scale in which it was determined whether a soul would be allowed to enter the afterlife. Anubis was very feared even among the members of the Ennead and was more powerful than many of the other gods. Now we come to Konchu. Konchu is the nocturnal god of the moon, of vengeance, and for travelers. He was the son of Ra and was described as the greatest god of the great gods. He represented the moon, a universal symbol for redemption power. So not being able to enter the earthly plane, so throughout history, he would pick a champion who would work as an avatar of him and be guided by his will. That lone warrior will be called the Moon Knight. In the MCU, he is seen as being clad in mummy robes, holding a scepter with a crescent moon on top, and having a raven skull for a head. So after Konchu, we come to Bast, one of the eldest of the Ennead. As early as 10,000 BC, Bast was worshipped as a panther god, granting power to worshippers and descendants. The most well-known fact about Bast is that it is the Wakandan panther god and is responsible for protecting the Wakandan kingdom as well as granting power to the ancient line of kings and warriors known as Black Panthers. However, in Egypt, Bast was worshipped primarily in the city of Bubastis as a goddess of pleasure, dancing, and music. So different. So lastly we come to Horus, and now we have the falcon god, one of the most powerful and the most well-known of all the Egyptian gods. Being the son of Osiris, who was instrumental in helping Anubis and Isis in collecting the dismembered parts of his father's body and resurrecting him, Horus was also the same god who would battle Seth for centuries and ultimately win in the end. Horus carries a staff with a large blade at one end and a hook at the other. He can use that staff to focus his energy powers with great efficiency. So now we come to the question, which are the 9 gods of the Ennead in Moon Knight? Well, there are 6 which have been confirmed by Stephen Grant in the museum as he was conversing with his manager. The ones seen on that poster were Shu, Horus, Osiris, Tefnut, Hathor, and Geb. Since Konchu is the power source behind the Moon Knight, who is his avatar, then we can say that he is the 7th on this list. And now there are 2 more spots. So with Arthur Harrow worshipping and drawing power from another one called Amit, we can clearly say that she also might be the 8th member. But then again, she could be on the opposing side to the Ennead. So personally, I think the Wakandan deity Bast is the 8th member, being in the same cinematic universe. And then lastly, we see an avatar of Anubis trying to kill Stephen, but only to fall to Moon Knight. So Anubis might be the 9th member of the Ennead. Anyway, this is still an educated guess. The 9 members of the Ennead will be revealed eventually in Moon Knight, and let's see if we are true, like if our guess is true. So we have Shu, Horus, Osiris, Tefnut, Hathor, and Geb. Then we have Konchu, Bast, and then Anubis. Anyway, with that we come to the end of it. So do hit that like button for support and subscribe as well to be a part of the MindQ family. But most of all, smash that bell icon for regular updates on new videos right here on this channel. Till the next one, take care fam.